2.5 hours outside of LA on a bad day. And it's just rural. It's kind of like Texas, but it's just like rural. They have like malls with like really new stuff, and it's cheap. And it's kind of like, we call it River Slime.
River Slime. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Chilluminati podcast, episode 212. As always, I am one of your hosts, Mike Marion. Today, joined by Alex Faciane alone. But we have a special returning guest, one that I actually haven't been a part of an episode with. This guest filled my seat when I was missing.
Yeah. Fan favorite guest, never seen Mathis. Get Mathis never approved guest.
Nah, it's true. Never approved. You just kind of just jumped on and they said, Davis is taking your spot.
Sweet.
I said, my job might be in jeopardy. I was a little worried, but I'm still here. Welcome back to the show, Davis. I know the last time you were here, you guys talked about like Coconut Beach or whatever
Bohemian Grove.
Yeah, that one.
Which
Coconut
was
Coconut Beach. Yeah.
so fascinating.
Coconut
and
Records.
that was a wild episode.
Who brought that episode? Whose episode was that? Is it Alex?
I brought it for Davis because I thought he would like it.
Yeah.
You know Davis well. I'm assuming he did.
I
Welcome
did.
back, Davis.
Well, and it was great because when he approached me, and maybe I said this in that episode, I was like, I mean, I'll be on it. I'm not like a big believer in stuff, so I might not like actually be a fun person. But then you're like, I got something, and it's like, oh shit, I know those exist. I know like people that have gone to them.
You like immediately became like a full-on conspiracy theorist about this, like because it's true.
Davis, did you start getting alt-right videos on YouTube again?
Dude,
the Star Wars pipeline.
Dude, I was like, as a non fan of The Last Jedi, it was wild how quickly those videos spiraled into like, I don't like where I'm at.
You're like, hang on, wait, what?
And then I discovered, I got back on Instagram and then discovered that people do Lord of the Rings memes as though it was a modern movie and it was so joyous. And then a couple started coming in that were like, oh, that's off color. I don't
know if Token would approve
Yeah,
of
I'm pretty
that.
sure Legolas wasn't anti-trans, bro.
It literally, I got an anti-trans one. I was like,
I think they're only
the joy of this is gone. So
how quickly that happens. And
Yeah.
The joy of something sapped away. Well, now you know. You're educated that the podcast is more than ghosts. And
no. And I was telling you, and I mean Alex and Jesse know because I bug them. I'm now listening through it from the beginning, so I'm on episode 22, so I'm way. I got
somewhere
ways to
in
go,
the 60s or 70s, audio balancing is handed off to Alex, and it's a lot better.
It's not a. I mean,
Don't
I
worry.
guess I'm not an overly audiophile person, so
That's good.
it's fine. It's just so interesting that I can, if the bass is a little bit low and the treble. See, I don't even know the terms.
Yeah, no.
It's fine.
There's a couple episodes where I think Alex is quiet and Jesse's really loud, so when he cackles, it blows your ears out. That's one or two episodes. It shouldn't last all that long.
I'm hyped for it. I'm hyped for Davis to hear those episodes.
I'm also hyped for Patreon.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about this podcast is that we exist because people come support us at patreon.com/ChilluminatiPod. And it's as if it wasn't enough to make such a good show with the money that you give us. You know what I mean? If that wasn't satisfying in its own right, and giving us money is your way of just supporting this fine show that we're already doing. If that wasn't enough, you get all these great little bonuses, episodes without advertisements of any kind, except for this one right here that you're listening to now.
Everybody on Patreon has made it clear that they love this. So.
They love this?
Yeah. Not a single person dislikes it at
You
all.
really like me? You really will head over to patreon.com/ChilluminatiPod to get episodes of our fresh off the assembly line show, Rotten Popcorn.
That's
the
coming.
greatest movie commentary show ever made. It's a new idea that we've
Davis,
had.
I need to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Do you know who Neil Breen is?
Oh, no.
That sounds really familiar.
Okay, so the answer is no. Not off the top of his head. I just
What-
need
what
to
you
know.
want-
Wait, is Dr. Breen is from Half-Life.
Neil Breen is a independent filmmaker. Let's put it that way.
A man who no movie studio could
A
hold
nuanced.
the amount of talent he possesses.
A nuanced independent filmmaker is what I would call Neil Breen.
If you the latest video I put up on my YouTube channel has a little bit of a Neil Breen cutaway.
He just looks like a character, and Google's first picture of him is like smiling, but his eyes are closed, which also sells I'm assuming, the eccentric nature of this man.
Well, if you want to know more about Neil Breen, join our Patreon, and one of the Rotten Popcorns out there, listeners, is going to be Neil Breen real soon. Very soon.
If you haven't seen Mel's art, just go to Patreon for a minute, check it out. Like,
dude, Mel does great art.
It's so good. And all the art, actually, that we have available is fantastic.
A new T-shirt's out.
Yeah, there's a Fresno Nightcrawler
Chilluminati.
T-shirt.
Go buy that new T-shirt. It's only available for about 30 or so days. It's the Fresno Nightcrawler.
I wish Jesse was here. I wish Jesse was here today to tell you just how cute this shirt is, because Jesse particularly loves the Fresno Nightcrawler. But this guy looks like his name is like Baudrillard or something. Like he looks
Beauregard.
He looks like he goes to a smoking lounge somewhere. Like he looks like a jolly chap. I like this guy. This is a good shirt. You got to go check it out. Yeah, I don't know. This whole thing is Patreon funded, so please go support us.
We're about to break our highest.
Do you guys still have that cool hat that you talk about in every episode 5 years ago that I'm listening to?
No, the hat is long off the market.
I wear the hat all the time because I love that hat. But
I hope you guys got it while the getting was good.
Yeah, it was 5 years old at this point.
But you know what? If you go to Patreon, you always get first crack.
Yeah. You get a heads up when shit's coming. Yeah, and if you're at the top tier, you get the T-shirt for free every single time. So
yeah, bam.
If you like that shit, go support us. And we're almost over our highest yet. We 12,500 is where our highest is, and
guys,
we inch toward basically.
Close. Yeah.
I want to bring on the big next thing. When we can afford it is like an every month or every other month like animation of like one of our bits, similar to how like. Great. Jesse does Cox and Crendor idea, like that kind of thing where we nab one of our fun, like Mothman I bit, like that's exactly. A perfect animated segment. That's our next. That's what we want to be able to fund next from you.
The point is we want this to be the only thing that we do if we can.
Yeah,
we're trying to get it as big and broad of a project as we can to make things that are like cool for you guys. So keep on contributing to that Patreon if you want more stuff. I mean, we put out a lot of content now. In terms of like just what comes from our show and the staff that we have. And every episode takes kind of a lot of work. This one, a little lighter work than most. But, there's a lot of effort that goes into this show. And we want to do even more, but we need more people to do it because we already have all the people doing stuff all the time that already work for us. So this is the way. So please support, you will send us to space, and we will make, like more video stuff.
I will go video an alien IRL if we make enough money. Send me to space.
We've already been talking about.
I'll fucking alien and tape it. That's what
We've been talking about what kind of car would be hilarious the most for like a road movie type show. We've had that conversation. We want to do those things. Yeah. They're pretty high budget projects, but we want to do.
We have dreams. We have dreams.
Yeah.
We've seen a broken ass van or RV. That'd be super fun. Anyway, this is gonna be a bit of a lighter episode. We haven't done a listener stories episode since fucking November. It's been since 2022.
It's like impossible.
Which makes no sense to my brain. Yeah. It genuinely does not. But I wanted to preface the episode before getting to that, talking a little bit about, because people have been begging me to talk about it. We got to do a little alien update because of the government news that came out yesterday. We don't have to harp on it. We were just talking about it for like 45 minutes before the fucking turned the cameras on.
Right.
But for those who are following the Grush, as Alex has actually like coined it, the Grush era of the UFO world, as we've now moved into.
It's a different vibe.
Yeah. One of the biggest problems is, the people in government that are like touting it are, politicians. All politicians are hard to believe, but some of them are a little bit more hard to believe than others. Now
That's
we're
a very
looking
polite way of putting it, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. I try to be as accommodating as I can. But now we have a new bill being put forward, this one by Schumer out in the Senate, that's modeled after the bill or the amendment or whatever it was that was about the JFK disclosure stuff that was put forward a long time ago. But this is all about UAP, UFO, and like crash retrieval programs or whatever. But the big thing is in this bill, we, for the very first time, see the government use and define what the term NHI means, which stands for non-human intelligence.
A phrase we've heard now very commonly amongst non-government sources. Yeah.
Yeah. Something that's been, if you listen to any of the public hearings with the AARO and Congress, a lot of the time, or the Pentagon being asked by the press, a lot of the time you hear them ask about extraterrestrials or aliens. Like, those are the terms they use. And every time, if you listen to their answers, it's always very specific about what they say about no evidence of extraterrestrials or aliens. But non-human intelligence is a much more broadly defined term. And what that means is, according to the bill, which is Section 12 of the bill, a non-human intelligence, this is the term, this means any sentient intelligence, non-human life form, regardless of nature or ultimate origin, that may be presumed responsible for unidentified anomalous phenomena, or of which the federal government has become aware.
It's like the UFO of entities.
Right. Yeah, really.
In a way. It's like it's the same exact thing as calling something a UFO, but it's about like a thing. They literally say regardless of origin or ultimate origin or whatever, meaning it doesn't fucking matter, not alien or extraterrestrial, just something that's non-human and sentient. Because there's also the theories that they're in our ocean. They maybe aren't extraterrestrial, but they've fucking been on the Earth way longer than we have, and they've just been under our water, and we can't get to them because you saw what happened when we, cut the budget and send somebody down to the Titanic. Yeah.
It doesn't really go all that well. It takes a lot of money to build a sub.
We do not have that biome conquered. There is we are not adroit in the water.
We aren't.
Yeah.
At the depth that the Titan was at, if they had been alive, there was only like 1 or 2 vehicles in the world that could get down there and make an attempt to get them. Like, it is beyond our capabilities to go very deep. I think James Cameron spent 10 years funding and like creating the sub that eventually allowed him to go down to the Titanic.
He was talking some trash on that. That was crazy.
I didn't even say, yeah.
The idea, remember we were talking about the sharks like a year ago or so? They like said like, oh, we found out finally like that all the sharks in the ocean, like the big sharks, when they breed, we didn't know what the fuck was going on with those sharks. And we found out they all like meet in like a fucking deep water, like Elden Ring, like Cthulhu cave underneath the ocean, where they all just have like a fuck party and then they like come back.
That sounds...
They figured it out?
Yeah.
Dude, it's one of those like facts that I never like looked into because I kind of liked the mystery. But when somebody was like I think it was great whites or just sharks, are like, they just go somewhere and we don't know where they are, is like makes sharks even fucking scarier than they already are, where you're like, what do you mean they just go somewhere we don't know? What do you mean? What does that mean?
Right.
That's just crazy. Go just
Turns out it's
deep
fuck
enough.
Cave.
You just go deep enough and we can't get to you.
So
they have like a shark Zion from like Matrix. It's just like
that's like exactly what's going on down there. Shark like Lawrence Fishburne is like, yeah, and they're like,
who? How do we find out what happened? Which of the sharks fucking?
I mean, I don't have
who ratted them out.
That study. What shark talked?
Who talked?
No, I don't have the article in front of me, but it was like something like that. So think about how think about how smart a shark is, and then we eat sharks literally for breakfast sometimes. Like sharks we are much more advanced than them. So imagine if there was a species that was as advanced as us or more advanced than us that lives down there. Think about how adroit they would be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's really wild to think about, honestly. And it would make sense. Like, even if they're not necessarily from the planet, but if they just need to hide from us, the water is where you would go. The monkeys don't go in the water. We can't get down there. It's
so
too
going
hard.
back to what you were talking about with regard to this new disclosure thing, it's exciting because it's coming from Chuck Schumer, right?
Yeah.
That's what's exciting about it, especially because this is like mainstream. It was reported on
NBC picked up.
Yeah,
New York Times picked it up.
But because he's not here, I'm just going to swing in and do this for him. And I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. I wouldn't be a Chilluminati episode if somebody came and shat on my dreams.
Yeah. So what Jesse said in the chat when we were talking about this was basically that like Schumer is basically doing this to like call their bluff and make some people who are kind of crazy. Like the other people that have been talking about this a lot are like Marco Rubio, who is like a human tower of shit, a piece of rotten salami just sitting there. Just a shitty, not listen to this guy who should probably not have his job.
Fucker Carlson constantly talked about UFOs too, and it made me like want to go crazy.
It's just one of those things that like I feel like cynically that a lot of these sort of like more pundit-based news networks that are sort of right-leaning, I think a lot of the time to appeal to a broad base of people that want to like get into like lore. They align a lot of the time shamelessly with conspiracy theories.
Sure,
right?
It's an easy in, right?
Yeah, and it's just like what Davis was just talking about like not liking how Luke Skywalker's character develops in The Last Jedi can lead you to like, I don't like Asian women, or like what, like whatever, like fucking weird ass place that you end up that's like awful, right? And so, you know, I don't know, like Chuck Schumer kind of, if you look at it from Jesse's perspective,
let's not pretend Chuck Schumer's like the best politician ever existed and is flawless man. Not at all.
He's just, his credentials are legit, right?
Correct.
His track record is like he is a real politician who seems to be knowledgeable about his job and like kind of could have a job like this, right? Which is enough for me, right? And I'm just saying, cynically, from Jesse's perspective, that him doing this could just be kind of being like, all right, let's hear it.
Sure. And that's always possible. And it would be, to me, it's a weird move because up until now, it hasn't really been being covered by any like mainstream things. I know you're saying like it's more to like gather the people on the weirder sides of news, like the more obscure stuff. It's becoming very
convincing for us is why it's worrisome.
Literally, thank you. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Is like it's becoming more believable to us, but that makes us put the brakes on because we know how easy a road it leads. Go back a couple months and go listen to the Majestic 12 episode. Yeah. That's all about the dangerous road, like believing in these things can quickly lead you if you're not doing your due diligence.
If Schumer is looking at this and he doesn't have inside knowledge on this and he doesn't believe it, it's like watching smarter people getting like,
it's a win-win.
QAnon.
Whether Jesse's right or I'm right and this is like the real deal, it doesn't matter because this is still exactly what we need regardless.
Right. If this is an op and this is us getting radicalized to QAnon, like through some weird backdoor way, some sort of like crazy conspiracy.
I swear to God, if in a few episodes I'm going to be touting JFK Jr.'s return and a guest on the podcast, we gotta hang it up. Thank you to Ghostbed for sponsoring today's episode. Mysteries are all fun and games until you can't figure out why you're losing sleep at night. God knows I struggle with sleep every night for the past 37 years of my life. And if you find yourself tossing and turning in bed like me, it might be time for a new mattress. We suggest checking out our friends over at Ghostbed. As a family-owned business with over 20 years of experience, Ghostbed knows a thing or two about the secrets of a good night's sleep. The makers of the coolest bed in the world, Ghostbed uses their signature cooling material to whisk away heat from your body, ensuring you stay comfortable throughout the night. And let me tell you right now, I've been using their pillow, like exclusively now for months, and it's the only time in my entire life that I genuinely swear up and down I don't have to flip my pillow over every night. Like, it stays cool to the point of I literally sweat less at night. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I've always struggled with like having to flip my pillow. I'm a really hot sleeper. Having a pillow, never mind a mattress that does it, just having a pillow that I can put my head down on and just feel the heat sucked away. It's changed the way I sleep, and I don't know if I could ever go back. These guys just don't cut corners when it comes to quality either. Trust me, each bed is meticulously crafted, backed by their 101 night sleep trial. And if you need help choosing the perfect bed, Ghostbed sleep experts are always on standby to help you guide you to where you need to go to get the sleep of your dreams. Plus, most orders ship within 24 hours, so you don't even have to wait that long once you get your new bed to start sleeping better. For a limited time, you can use code CHILL to get 40% off of your purchase site-wide. Head over to ghostbed.com/chill right now to get started and just use code CHILL. That's 40% off of your purchase site-wide. What are you waiting for? Get over there.
I like if that's what this is, I'll feel real bad at this point. But it's scary because we're starting to be convinced that something's going on.
Yeah.
Like rationally minded people are starting to like.
Let's not pretend that anybody thinks I'm rational. All right, we all know I'm not.
I think Jesse, you are. I mean, like you do your research. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
no, I know.
Like that's the scary thing about this. I think more than anything is that I'm starting to feel like something's actually happening.
Yeah.
That's why it's got to come out.
It's not ever fading away. Like people think it's going to fade away. Instead, more things keep happening instead.
We were just talking about the guys that set out to disprove quantum physics. And then they won the Nobel Prize because they ended up proving quantum physics.
Yeah.
That's what I want for this now. I don't
Yeah.
care. I've been saying this now in every episode that we yell at each other about this. Is like, I need the alien titty. I need I need somebody to be like, this is real, or here is a picture of it. Like, I need like that to come out at a White House briefing. I want it to be an official channel confirming something.
People already, dude, in the deeper circles that I tread through every once in a while, people are already like saying that the government acknowledging it is the start to Project Bluebeam. I don't know if you don't know what Project Bluebeam is. It's a conspiracy theory. The idea is that the government's fake an alien UFO invasion to create a new world order, government thing. You can literally track
from the
you can track that conspiracy theory back to its origins and know exactly how much of a fake it is and how much of a bullshit thing it is. But
Alan Moore wrote it in the 1980s for DC Comics.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's the whole problem with this right now. Is like, please try to disprove quantum physics of alien conspiracy theories, please, because at this point it's dangerous.
I've been told via Twitter every time I share something, like the people that I keep sharing are not always like trustworthy, and now I share this, and it's like all those people are just very quiet, and I'm like, okay, good, fucking watch. I'm curious who's gonna vote in which direction when this comes up. I'm very curious who's gonna vote for it and who's gonna vote against it.
Yeah. And it's such an unknown. Like,
I know, it's crazy, and
it's metaphysical. Like, it's like a metaphysical threat. It's crazy.
And if you want to, we can go to the science side of thing. The other thing I wanted to cover is Avi Loeb update. So Avi Loeb is a Harvard PhD physicist that went out into the crash site of what was believed to be the first interstellar meteor that came into our solar system. It crashed in the Indian Ocean in 2014. And over the past few years, since 2019, he's been gathering people to fund and get an expedition out there so that he can kind of scoop the floor and trying to find bits of this thing. So he either can prove that it is an interstellar meteor, because there was even scientists who didn't believe that, or what he potentially believes that it might be a probe, something that was fired off millions of years ago from a civilization far away that just eventually kind of crash landed into our planet.
Voyager landed.
Yeah, essentially. So he went out there expecting to scoop. He was hoping for somewhere between 5 to 8 spherules, which were like 0.3 milligram sized things that you could barely see with the naked eye, but on under an electronic microscope, you can really see these things. Davis, you want to say something?
How big is this thing?
The meteor?
The meteor, yeah.
You can. I don't remember how big they believed it to be, but the Department of Defense was the one to track down where it crashed. And I don't know how big it was supposed to be, but I don't think it was like, obviously
Are we talking like car size, bigger, smaller?
No, I would imagine smaller than car size, because it would have caused like a tidal wave.
Yeah, that would have been awful. Yeah, I think it's not that big, but big enough to track on instruments.
I don't like follow this that much. Do we track meteors and collect them when they land and study them? Or
sometimes but we track them all the time in our solar system, and most of the time we probably ignore them because we now know what they're made out of.
I've heard of discoveries being made from excavating meteorites.
The reason there was the suspicion this was outside the solar system is the angle and the speed at which it hit the planet. It didn't fit anything within our known solar system to be able to hit that trajectory at that speed from the distance it came from.
He's also the Oumuamua guy, right?
Yeah, he's the Oumuamua guy who wrote a paper and successfully disproved the initial theory as to why it left the planet, which was wrong, and it was accepted by scientific journals or whatever.
Is it so? It hit the ocean. Is it like on the ocean floor? Is it just part of this? Like you have to go. How are you going to find that?
So because they knew where it crashed, satellite imagery and stuff, they can see where it crashed through the Department of Defense. Working with him, they were able to narrow it down to like a very particular area. And he set up a grid, and they went out there with a boat, a crew, and all these things, and started going through the grid one at a time with a dragnet. And a dragnet with a camera on it and other equipment, and looking for it. And when he finally, I think it was like within the first week, he came across his first spherule, which narrowed down the area. And he was actually able to, over the course of 3 weeks, find it. And instead of getting 5 to 8, they got over 50 of these things.
Are spherules just like parts? It like split.
Yeah. So the way when the meteor hits the water at the heat and the angle it hit, basically as it explodes, these things are running through the water and rotating rapidly, and the rapid cooling of the water with how hot it is turns them into like perfect spheres.
Think about like liquid metal splashing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he went down there with the dragnet, was able to pull stuff up, and was able to. They pulled up a little wire at one point, but they were able to determine that it was probably man-made just because of what it was made out of. A lot of volcanic ash was down there.
How deep is this ocean?
I'd have to look how deep they went.
We don't
it was
know.
the Indian
I don't
Ocean.
know.
I'd have to look. I don't know exactly.
That's cool.
The
The
interesting
I don't know if
thing
it
is the
matters,
lack-
but does it like fuck up the life and stuff doing these dragnets? I don't know.
I don't think so. They're just kind of pulling it across the sand on the ground. It's
Okay.
like it's not like this huge thing that's scooping everything.
They're not like
It's
fucking up a coral reef. Or
no,
something.
it's laying no. It's laying directly down on the sand, being pulled, and has like magnetic stuff, so it can pull things out of the sand. It's not
So
like
if they have some, what do they need money for? Like, can't they? Do they not
so
have the
they
tech
needed the money to go
actually
out
like?
there. So now they're back. They came back a couple weeks ago. And a few days ago, the update was they kept some for themselves to study, and then they sent them off to 3 separate universities to be studied by other scientists. 2 in America and 1 in Germany. It's like Harvard, Yale, and then something else. I forget what the Germany one is. And they're going to start looking at it and kind of figuring out what these things are made of.
It's the
But-
lack
they
of
haven't done
ni-
that
it's
yet?
the
So
lack of
Loeb
nickel.
has. But he's, other people need to verify. It can't just be one guy. He wants like multiple labs. But what's fascinating is what Alex just said. After looking at it, it's like 80-something% iron. It's got titanium in there, and it's got other bits that he say are typically used in semiconductor production. But, take that with a grain of salt. The big thing is there's no nickel found in it. And on Earth, that's unheard of. You cannot find iron without nickel also mixed in due to the way heat and explosions and how it's formed happens. And the only when we create iron stuff here on Earth, we have to purify the nickel out of it in order to use it because nickel weakens iron. And that holds true to as much as we've been able to study outside of the Earth and the planet. Like just where there's iron, there is nickel. Except on these spherules, all of the ones he studied so far, 0% nickel in any of them.
Implies manufacture.
Yeah, that's his the implication is that it was manufactured somewhere. The nickel would have been purged out of it. He was also able to date the thing to 4.5 billion years old. That the asteroid was, or the meteor was. So if it was a probe, it's a probe from billions of years ago across the universe that just hit our planet one day. If that's true, if that's the case. Regardless,
and even if it's not that, it's
an
just
interstellar
a
meteor still.
$4 billion like pool cue ball that's been flying across. Like that's so
it's
cool.
fucking cool as shit. And because he's able to find it, he's trying to get back out there in 2024 because he wants to go to the end and see if he can find literally whatever is left of this thing at the end of the trail they found and find it.
Are they thinking that there would be one large prime piece?
Yeah, he thinks there's one big hunk.
The hunk, yeah.
Yeah, and we're talking I would guess football sized or smaller, if anything's left. But that's what he wants to go find. Now that he knows and he's been able to verify the path that it took, he can now try and find the end of it and hopefully find the motherlode of whatever it is, even if it's just an interstellar meteor, because that's the first time we've had interstellar meteor that we know of.
It's just whatever's going on. It's very interesting. Whatever
Yeah.
that is. Yeah.
I know people are like, it's the same as always, but it's not. The past 3 to 5 years have seen so much more progress than the past 20 something years that I've been heavily into.
And a lot of
this.
legitimate, like a lot more legitimacy this time
And the
around.
people who are questionably legitimate becoming more legitimate the more we learn, like
Yeah.
Bob Lazar.
Pretty weird.
It's wild.
Pretty weird.
It is, and that's your alien talk for the day. We have
Stories.
we have some stories to read, and an update on one that we read last time in November that I'm excited to get to.
That was in November? No.
Dude, yes, the last
No.
listener stories we did was in November.
We had to have done that part of the listener story more recently.
That might have been a mini-sode. then.
Yeah, because damn, no way. That was before Christmas.
Yeah, it's crazy. Don't talk to me. I know time flies.
Maybe it was Krendor.
We did Unit 7, Krendor.
Maybe it was when Krendor was
When he was here a few weeks ago? Yeah, maybe.
I don't remember.
Anyway, I don't know. But we're going to do some stories. And this light little taster of a story at the very top, we'll give that one to Davis. Davis, this one's all for you to read. How's your reading? Are you above a first grade level?
It is, but now that we'll see. Actually, we're all about to find out.
We're all about to find out. If you don't have it open, I can give it to Alex.
No, it's open. You want me to just go for it?
Yeah, go for it. This is title and all.
Grim Reaper Took My Cousin by Trippy Gamer 420.
Very trustworthy name, honestly.
It's just already. It sort of is like a caveat in a name, just like.
You know that tweet?
I do drugs. So whatever that means to you.
Tweet? You know that tweet that's like Moon's alive, and then it's like load shotgun.
Oh yeah,
like,
no,
what?
Moon's haunted.
Moon's haunted. What?
Yeah.
Moon's haunted. That's like Grim Reaper Took My Cousin has that energy.
Yeah.
Grim Reaper Took My Cousin. What?
All right. My cousins and I got bored one night around Valentine's Day 2009 and decided to ghost hunt. We were ages 16, 16, and 12. I don't know what you were hunting with, but at first we were
okay,
just...
no, hang on, Davis. If you were going ghost hunting, what would you take?
Oh, my God, I wouldn't because I don't...
Butterfly net, dustbuster.
I don't I guess if you believe silver, isn't silver
not for ghosts?
How
But
about a K2 meter?
I think of silver as
recorder?
supernatural metal.
Honestly, if you are in a world, you need one of those. If you're in a world where supernatural exists, having silver on you is almost always good. You're right. A lot of supernatural hate silver.
That's true.
Yeah.
But if you were to, with your everyday stuff, grab your most important tool, you Davis deem
my dog.
Honestly, maybe not.
So that I could actually do it, but I guess
Sorry,
I got a GoPro now, so I probably GoPro it. But
that thing is legit.
I don't have how do you fight? I don't believe in them, but if you did believe them, what do we have that could fucking do anything to a ghost?
I don't think most ghost hunters go into it believing they're gonna
I guess
but
because it's hunt, I assume hunting. Is it just ghost sighting?
You're trying to go
binoculars, maybe a little fold-out chair, some.
See, now you're thinking like a ghost hunter. Now you're starting to think like a ghost hunter.
What is bird watching, but for fucking
that's what it is.
Ghosts.
What's bird watching but stupid? You are correct.
Spirit box. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the spirit box. All right, go ahead, Davis. Continue.
Ages 16, 16, and 12. At first, we were just playing around and didn't think we'd actually get a response, but to our surprise, we did. Multiple responses to multiple questions. I asked if the spirit wanted to sit in the chair I was in, and the response was a deep, scary growl saying, "No." Freaked us the fuck out, but we kept going. Found out there was a spirit that loved Robert. Don't know who that is.
Yeah,
Anyways, my cousin shines a flashlight near a wall.
Yeah.
Probably just said it. I don't know. My cousin shines a flashlight near a wall and doorway, swearing he's seen something move past the door frame. And as he did, the tallest, darkest, perfect fucking shadow of the Grim Reaper appeared on the wall.
You think it was one of those
darkest, perfect fucking shadow? I've never seen a shadow that I thought about that, but yeah. When I say perfect, I mean there were no blurred edge lines like a shadow would normally have. There's high anti-aliasing, and you can make out the hood, scythe, and the crow on its shoulder, standing with its hand out like it wanted us.
Wait a minute, hold on. I didn't know that the Grim Reaper had a pet crow.
Is that a thing?
I didn't know that.
Is that from Discworld?
Are you sure? Are you sure you saw the Grim Reaper? If it had a pet crow?
Capital letters.
Maybe
I know
Odin.
that crows are part of that whole death thing, but a cursory Google image search of Grim Reaper, okay, there's one in the background of one picture.
Okay.
But it doesn't, no.
So the black hologram Grim Reaper could have a hologram crow.
You think Trippy Gamer 420 was tripping a little bit, or
maybe I am seeing? Oh shit! This one is a crow that it's flapping its wings and it's turning into smoke.
Oh shit!
It's not based on just Google search. Crows are sometimes imagery that is associated with it.
All right, we're in there.
Based on 10 seconds of research.
Yeah, I'll take it.
We told my aunt about it, but she didn't believe us and thought we were lying, so we brushed it off. They moved from the house to one across town later that same year. Well, that September, my cousin turned 13, was hit and killed by a car not even an eighth of a mile from his house.
Oh.
So is that we're assuming here that the Grim Reaper was like the Mothman, in that he showed up to tell you of a bad event to come, but was not there to take the kid's soul quite yet.
Marked the soul.
Huh. Well,
my condolences for your cousin.
Yeah, my condolences as well. And next time you see a perfect shadow without any feathered edges, I'd love a photo.
That's
spooky. What does that even mean?
What does what even mean?
I just I've never thought about shadows. Sometimes shadows look spooky, but I've never thought of like the idea of a perfect shadow.
Well, usually, right, with shadows, like there's a lot of angles and distance elements and atmospheric elements in between you and the light. But if you're in the dark, if you're in the full dark and you have like a light source and you're putting it like, if you hold your hand between the table and the flashlight or whatever, you can get some pretty crisp lines on your shadows.
So the idea is like a single powerful light source.
Yeah, but like what I believe they're saying here, what Trippy Gamer 420 is trying to say here, I think, is that this was like almost like uncannily different than how a normal shadow.
That's why it stuck out to them.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I believe. Yeah.
Well, Alex, this one's all yours.
Okay. I don't necessarily agree with the title.
I'm with you, to be honest. Okay.
This is Drugs Are Bad by Corvidae 5 Creation 5. Or I'm going to Corviday's Creations, maybe?
Oh, maybe.
Yeah. Speaking of crows. Anyway, here's a story you can read on the podcast if you like. Contains psychic phenomena. When I was a kid, like 11 or 12, I got strep throat, as you do. Went to the doctor, got a prescription cough suppressant and some antibiotics. Took my meds and had a nice bowl of tomato soup for lunch. If this was me, personally, I would also be watching The Price is Right at this time.
Oh, hell yes.
Yeah. 20 minutes later, I get violently dizzy and kind of throw up a little in my throat. I staggered halfway to the bathroom. Then the nausea subsided, and I was so sleepy all of a sudden that I turned around and keeled over into bed. Mom checked in on me and was like, "You okay?" And I told her what happened, and she was like, "Well, try to sleep it off." She went downstairs.
Hey, you'll be fine. Pat the kid on the back. It's fine.
Next thing I know, I'm standing behind her as she sat at the family computer, typing an email to Grandpa, and I read it over her shoulder. She was describing how I was sick, and the meds hit me like a truck. I felt unreasonably guilty for being out of bed and reading stuff that's none of my business, so I kind of wandered off. Through the wall. Later, I woke up in bed and told Mom about what happened. She said I was never there. She definitely would have noticed me shambling around the house. Turns out the meds interacted with a chemical found in all deadly nightshade plants. Tomatoes are still a member of that family, and people on certain medications should be careful about that. And I had a fucking out-of-body experience.
Holy... wait, what? What?
Yeah.
Tomatoes and you should not eat tomatoes when on cough suppressants.
Mathis is like, oh, whoa, wait.
Bro,
what,
I just felt... you
suppressants?
never want to do that.
Yeah,
Definitely
like,
not going to go buy... Yeah, can I get specifics?
Dude, that's so crazy. What was that? Anyway... I quoted Mom's entire...
I'm just Googling in the background, furious typing.
I quoted Mom's entire email to her word for word, and she was like, okay, that's creepy, but didn't make a big deal about it. Never had tomato soup again. Have yet to repeat the experience with any other drugs, and I've had weed and major surgery since then. That's a good sentence.
Yeah, right? Damn.
I haven't had any other drugs, and I've had weed and major surgery since then. Very weird. I like that one. So wait, did the letter actually happen? Did the email actually get sent?
The email was real. Like that, they're saying the email actually happened. They actually saw it, and the mom was like, "That's weird," but then kind of left it. And I'm just like, why is that people's reactions when weird things happen? Just be like, "Huh, weird," and not be like, "Wait, what?" and try to find out more about it.
There's a term that I learned recently that I like, thought terminating phrases, like it's in God's hands, or like they're these things that. Cognitive dissonance is like the mental frustration or like anxiety that you get from holding two opposing viewpoints. And rather than seeing the stimuli that would radically alter the way that you perceive the world, like your entire worldview.
There's a new term for you. It would cause ontological shock.
Yeah, it's just simpler to like fucking shut that down and move on. So it's probably because like, if you have to like think too hard, you're going to explode in your head, and so you're just like, well, he's sick and he's on drugs, even though it doesn't explain how he knew exactly the thing.
It's funny because like we talk about this a lot on the show. It's a very similar thought process with cult members and serial killers. The idea of having to look and recognize what you believe or what you've done is not correct, and then having to like essentially dismantle yourself in that way. You'd have to rebuild with this new version of reality that you're not familiar with. And it's interesting that it reminds me, remember the story I told of my friend when he was 16 years old, saw a UFO in the car with his dad and his sister. If not, quick story, on his way home from high school or from somewhere with his dad and his sister in the car, they were driving. They see something moving very erratically in the sky, like in directions that didn't make any sense. And only 2 or 3 seconds later, it zipped off. And then the dad in the car said, did everybody just see that? And he and his sister said, yeah, they saw that. And they were like, weird, but then kind of like put it aside. Never again brought it up. And then it reminds me that same friend who I game with multiple times a week had another goddamn UFO sighting, and I'm mad about it. So so now we fast forward. He's not 16. He's like 37. He has 3 kids. His wife is gone with 2 of the kids, and he's in the backyard with his youngest, pushing him on a swing. And they live near an airport, and the kid loves airplanes. So he's always looking up in the sky and pointing at airplanes as they're always flying by. And then at one point, he said he noticed his son was just like looking up in the sky. Wasn't saying anything, but was just looking up and fascinated with something. And so he turned around and was trying to see what he saw. And he sees this little dot in the sky. This is daylight, not at night. And it's moving in like a straight line, but at a really weird speed. So my thought is, oh, he's seeing a satellite, because they usually move in a straight line at a really weird speed. And he goes, after I watched it for a couple seconds, it took off at a 90-degree angle at a speed I could not explain. And I was just like, I hate you, because and he's like, I don't know what to make of it, but it was this, I had another one. And I'm like, what the fuck? And but he's also left with like, what do I do about it? He's like, there's nothing you can really do.
I gotta spend more time looking at the fucking sky, bro.
Dude, I look at it every fucking day.
I didn't know you could even see satellites with the naked eye.
Yeah, so they look like stars, and they just move in that's usually a straight line and kind of a slow, steady motion. The same thing with the ISS. You can actually look up where the ISS is, and you can see it in the sky when it comes by.
Crazy. Okay.
Yeah. So, this is weird. Like, yeah, I think Alex is right, where you just can't explain it. So you just kind of like, you just got to move on. Or Davis, like you can't change your worldview. What are you going to do about it? You just kind
of protect yourself by just deciding like, well, that's
or
where
make a podcast.
That's where the invisible GTA like barrier to the outside of town is, where I can't walk anymore. You know what I mean? You're just like, that's the end of the map. Like, I don't care. Yeah.
Yeah, it's done. I can't go any further.
Oh, well.
My brain won't allow me.
If I go farther, I will go insane. Sorry. Like,
and I get it. Some people are not going to, when the alien disclosure eventually does happen, there are going to be people who go crazy. Just be ready. Keep careful. Lock your doors. Purge. It might happen for a couple nights. It's everybody's favorite time. Thanking HelloFresh for sponsoring this episode. I love HelloFresh, all right? I don't know what to tell you, man. There's not a single dish that I've had from there in the 2 years that I've been with them now. And I don't even, by the way, just to put this out there, I'm not getting like free boxes from HelloFresh just because they've got ads for us. Like, I am literally paying a subscriber fee to HelloFresh because, good God, it's changed the way I cook. It's just made life easier. I really don't have to worry about 3 meals a week. I know they're going to be good quality, even if they're not my favorite. Nothing has ever sunk below like a 7 out of 10 for me. They're just all so freaking good, affordable, and convenient as hell. And if you haven't noticed, which I'm sure you have, summer's here, and you should take a bite out of summer with HelloFresh. From chef-crafted seasonal recipes to their new fresh and fit summer menu, HelloFresh brings flavor right to your door, man. And pre-portioned ingredients all help to cut down on food waste, while step-by-step instructions make cooking a breeze for people like me. Because that's the other thing, I'm really bad at cooking. The fact that they come with instructions genuinely saves my life. I might have set my house on fire at this point if I haven't had them. And obviously everybody's looking to eat well over the summer. They got to get that beach bod baby. And HelloFresh's menu features calorie smart and protein smart lunch and dinner options, plus brand new vegan dinners to choose from. HelloFresh makes it easy to reach your food goals with flavorful recipes that leave you feeling satisfied. When you need dinner fast, don't call for delivery, just go to HelloFresh. Their fast and fresh recipes are ready in 15 minutes or less, plus HelloFresh is 25% cheaper than getting takeout, which is like how I lived for a long, long time. All you gotta do is head over to HelloFresh.com/chill50 and use code chill50 for 50% off plus free shipping. That's it. HelloFresh.com/chill50 with code chill50 for 50% off plus free shipping. Thank you again to HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. All right, next one is Waking Nightmares by Kelsey A. Faustus.
Oh,
hello.
Man.
I love that Faustus
cool
last
name.
name. Yeah, it's cool. Just wanted to say hi, longtime listener, first time poster. Anyways, I was with an ex at the time, and I was around 23 to 24 years old. I'm now 26 when I had these terrifying nightmares. So I just wanted to post them, and these dreams are in order from when I had them, and they happened 3 nights in a row. So just so you know, Davis, Jesse rather, is our dream interpretation individual during these listener stories. That's your job now. You're gonna have to interpret this.
Does he have some sort of training in this, or just
no, not at all. No. The only training you need is to be an online entertainer.
I have seen Joseph in the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat several times.
That's pretty good.
That's actually pretty. Yeah, that's
solid.
more. That's more credibility than I have.
Inception, you've seen that, right? Dreamscape,
Yeah,
seen that one?
I've seen Inception. I could do. Yeah,
Dreamscape.
Yeah.
What's Dreamscape?
Oh, wait till you come to Los Angeles, my friend.
That's a great popcorn. Dude, that would be a great movie for you because it deals with it's like Inception, but in the early 80s, and not as good, but like dream warriors and government conspiracies. It's literally exactly. Wild. It's like what I imagine something like MK Ultra is about.
Don't you worry. You're gonna get to that 4-parter real soon.
Okay. You guys finally do that because you talk about it, but
we deep dive into that and make everybody real depressed.
That's a rough one.
Yeah. Anyways, it would fit your guys' popcorn thing.
Yeah. MK Ultra is a nightmare in and of itself. But this sounds like a fun movie to watch when I'm out there. Maybe we can rotten popcorn it when I'm out there for that movie.
Yeah, down.
That'd be cool. Anyway, she continues to go, I usually don't dream at all, so I remember these dreams, but I remember these dreams to this day. The first one is called the cow dream. So the dream starts out with me watching over this guy, kind of like a fly in the corner type of thing. The dude didn't know I was watching, but he was on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland. Oh, you guys know that ride.
I know it well.
Is Jack Sparrow still in that one?
Oh, yeah.
They put him in it, right?
They put like an extremely realistic Jack Sparrow robot in amongst the robots from the
not
70s.
Realistic ones.
And so
That's
he
gotta
looks
be weird.
Uncanny sometimes. Like he moves like way too smooth. It's weird.
Oh no. Oh, I kind of want to see that now. Yeah. I don't think I went on that ride when I was down there last time.
It's a classic ride. You got to go on.
It's a great post-lunch, get out of the heat, chill ride.
Yeah.
That's real. Yeah, that's a good tip. As he was going down the river, the boat stopped in the middle of the ride, and the dude got out and started walking towards these maze of hallways. In the now we talked about Disney stuff all the time. Isn't like the back area of like Disney like a giant tunnel system and like hallways and stuff?
There are a few tunnels at Disneyland. The big tunnel system is underneath Disney World, which is actually built on the second story of a building, where the first floor is all tunnels.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. That's But there are, some tunnels under Pirates of the Caribbean. I will say this. I was listening to some rumors back in the day that there was at one point going to be a nighttime scary version of Pirates of the Caribbean, where at one point the ride goes down a different direction behind the town and it's like scary. That's the closest thing I've ever heard to anything like this, but I don't even know if that's true. So,
well, it should be, and they should do that now because that sounds like a really cool idea. In the hallways, you could hear people moaning, and for some reason, cows mooing. All right, maybe this is not in the tunnels.
Is this a Diablo deal?
The secret cow level. Yeah, she found it, dude. It was through the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. I could tell that
there is livestock on that ride.
That's true.
There's pigs, there's mules. There's
really?
This is not, yeah.
That's not living livestock, but like
okay, but no, be there. It wouldn't make sense to hear these sounds. Got it. I could tell that the guy was uneasy about the whole thing, but he kept walking. All of a sudden, the guy stops because he saw a cow at the end of the hallway. The dude freaked out and ran into the nearest room, which was a bedroom. He shut the door behind him, but as he looked around him, the cow was in there. He quickly panicked and tried to run again, but the cow got him and pinned him on the bed. How do you think the cow did that? Like with its hooves? With its horns?
I don't know.
There's no horns on a cow.
Pinned it, like it could just have sat on him.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, that's all it needs to do.
They're heavy as hell.
They're real big. Oh my God. The cow started to sexually molest the guy, and soon the cow transformed from a regular cow to a weird anime cow. I think we're just realizing you might be a furry.
Is this just like a bit?
I don't think it is a bit, because then they go legit, this was my dream in parentheses immediately following that. The now anime cow was still molesting the guy when all of a sudden more men and cows went into the room and an orgy started. As I was watching this all unfold in front of me, I remember panicking myself because I wanted to so badly run away from everything, but then the dream restarted itself. The guy was back on the boat and I was still watching him. I started screaming at the top of my lungs for anybody to listen because I knew what was about to happen and I didn't want to see the cow orgy again. I finally woke up and I didn't go back to sleep that night. To this day, I still hate the sight of cows, especially the Pokemon Miltank. I mean, I just think your subconscious was done holding onto the secret that you were a furry, and is just trying to make you come to the realization that you are a cow furry. Is that what you? Yeah, just a furry cow. That's your persona. Is a cow.
Yeah, I guess like because it's like why shows like Star Trek are great, where they take like things and they like separate. They make them different names for things that are real so that you can see it from a different viewpoint. Maybe this dream, because it's not you, this guy, like your brain's like, let's make you see somebody else go through this because it's actually you, but if it makes it you, you're gonna like not
erase it.
You're not gonna like get it.
Yeah.
So like maybe like the guy is her and it's something there.
I'm gonna go with that, and I'm gonna assume this person is now.
I'm gonna say this. Let me take a crack at this really quick.
Okay. You've got an idea?
An anthropomorphized cow is just automatically quite a Freudian image, right? There's something weird about it, like the fact that the cow squirts milk out of its like crotch area. There's something.
You think that was part of it? You think there was a lot of milk squirting happening?
Probably. I mean, in a cow orgy, right? And I'm just saying, like. There's something like pervertedly sexual about that, right? Like in a way, like visually, there's something like about the udder squirting milk that's like similar to like human sexuality, right? The cow is like kind of in some ways like a giant walking titty, right? And I think
Can you just keep describing it?
I think that what this dream could be is fear of your own abilities to create. Like, I think the fear here is that this is capable of occurring within your own imagination. I think that's what's so upsetting about it to you, is that you made this. Like,
that's the thing, right? These dreams are your brain. It's you.
I think that's what this is. I think to interpret this, what was on your mind is that you were frightened of your own thoughts, your own things that are occurring to you are your sort of background occurring thoughts are horrifying you. That's my feeling.
I like that. Isn't it wild that your dreams can scare and surprise you, but it's you making up the dream anyway? So shouldn't you know what's coming?
Yeah, exactly. Interesting.
Take that thought.
Interesting.
Smoke. Dream 2. The devil. I was sleeping at my boyfriend's, now ex, house when I had this dream.
Later,
it starts out... Sorry?
I said later, dude.
The dream starts out at my grandma's house. I was in the bathroom feeling good about myself. I was getting ready when my cousin came in and said, "Well, you look happy." I responded back with, "I am. I think it's because I prayed for the first time ever last night. I think that really helped." Now, the notes, I'm not a religious person, so this was weird for me. Before my cousin could respond, I felt this feeling of foreboding come over me. The bathroom door slammed shut, and I felt these hands on me, and next thing I knew, there was a cow pinning me against the bedroom floor, and I didn't know what to do. No, I was at my boyfriend's, now ex's house, on the bed next to him. I was awake but couldn't move, and my ex was next to me sleeping. I looked over to the side of the bed and saw this dark figure peering over the bed. Now, was it? I'm curious. Was it a perfect shadow with a scythe and a crow on its shoulder?
Oh,
he
no.
telegraphically? I think you meant telepathically. But I love the idea of this thing telegraphically, like boop, 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 boop.
It would be sweet. Or well, you're right. Telegraphically with like Morse code.
Yeah,
or
with
like
Morse
signed,
coding
maybe
its
just signed.
He telegraphically told me, "So, you want to start praying now? I'll show you what that can do to a person." He then grinned from ear to ear and opened his mouth wide. All I saw was blackness in his mouth. I still couldn't move, and I was terrified. I tried screaming, but nothing came out. I looked down, and I saw this demon trying to crawl up my legs, and I knew that I was about to be eaten. I was screaming, crying, and even calling out for my mom. But then I was suddenly able to move my foot, and I woke up in real life. I was at my ex's house, and how I woke up was in the exact position that I was in my dream. I didn't know what that dream was about, but I knew that dark figure was the devil himself. I again didn't fall asleep again that night.
Okay, I like this one.
You got something?
Yeah, I do. Ready? You ready for this? Ready for that high level shit right now?
Hit it.
Okay.
I'm ready, man.
Let's go back to what I was talking about just for a minute, about your own mind, your own thoughts, sort of like being something that maybe you're not ready to completely grasp. You're not ready to not grasp, but like reach out and own. Let's say, and in this case, let's talk about religion. I don't know what your relationship is with religion. I'm not gonna presume, but I'm gonna assume, just from the text, that the sentence where you say, I'm not a religious person, so this was weird for me, is you sort of underlining the fact that you're religious to us. And I'm going to take that to say that you...
Raised religious, maybe?
Yeah, like maybe you are anti-religion now in a way, like how sometimes I feel like maybe I don't want to be Catholic right now because of how weird it was.
Oh, that's an interesting idea, because... at 37, I still being raised Catholic. Catholicism is all about guilt, baby. That's the whole religion.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's still a lot of Catholic guilt that fucking comes up for random shit.
And I'm not, like I say, I'm not going to like say this is what you're doing, but this is just me interpreting this paragraph of text. So I'm going to go with that, and I'm going to say what this dream is about is you saying, you in your brain thinking to yourself, you know what? What if religion is scary because I might get something out of it? Like maybe what if a religion is like secretly appealing to me? That's part one of the feeling, right? Like I prayed for the first time and it really helped. And then number one, I want to say that the second half of this dream is sleep paralysis. I want to say that you were awake during the second half of this, but that the brain often hallucinates outside of unconsciousness sometimes in your process of waking up if you do it wrong, which can happen sometimes.
Yeah, or night terrors. If she woke up sitting up or something, night terrors, you can also like hallucinate but also move around.
The fact that they said that they were in the same position when they woke up makes me feel like this was actually happening in the room while you were conscious.
Yeah.
But to continue the thought, then though, if you're hesitant and you're like, maybe I am into religion, right? Then you're like, oh, but then the devil is real. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, maybe the reason I'm not religious is because even though I think it would help me, it would mean that the devil is
tempted.
Real. But maybe it just means that the devil is real also. Like, maybe the reason I don't want to subscribe to religion is because I'm afraid that it would make the devil real as well. How about that?
I like it.
I definitely think there's a like guilt theme that can be extracted from the two of them. I don't think that my interpretation of this one is not as like it's specifically religion based, but there is like, how do I describe this? Like, you ever like find out the truth about something and so you're like, all right, I can't do it, but there is some, like, you learn the truth about something and you don't want to engage in whatever that is, but that thing offers you comfort. And you miss, I guess, like nostalgia is based in this. You long for the time when you could do that guilt-free, or you could hide in it. But you know that, like, if you try it again, it's bad. Like, a lot of times after a relationship, if you're not finding love, you have that ex or that, like, hookup friend. And so maybe you, like, call them up and then it just starts shit again and it's
it just reopens the Pandora's
guilt
box.
Or it could be like anything where it's like you sort of like long for the comfort of ignorance maybe,
familiarity,
but you can't because you know now, and so you can't have it. So
ignorance is bliss, and once you get rid of that ignorance, you can't ever close your eyes to it again, not fully.
So I don't know. Maybe there's something there. That was.
Well, let's see if this final dream of hers wraps up this trilogy and makes a full story. The last one is called Demonic Doll. I was sleeping at my ex's house once again when I had this dream. I woke up in my dream and I knew that instantly something was wrong. I was already panicking and couldn't move. I looked over and saw that my hand was hanging off the bed and there was this doll sitting in front of my hand. It was a normal looking doll, life-sized like Annabelle doll from the movie, but I knew that that itself wasn't normal. My finger had twitched and I accidentally touched the doll. I tried to move my hand away, but I couldn't. I looked back at the doll and it grabbed my arm and started to pull me. I was sliding off the bed and I could do nothing about it. I started screaming, crying, calling for my mom, anything to try and get away from the doll. But I could do nothing and nothing was coming out of me. All of a sudden, I gained control of my body and quickly pulled away from the doll. I woke up in the real world and again was in the same position I was in real life that I was in my dream. After that, I started to jokingly say that it was my ex's fault for my dreams. After doing some Googling, I realized that I had these things called waking nightmares. Yeah, like night terrors, where you wake up in your dream and have a form of sleep paralysis. Oh, man, damn, Alex, you nailed that last one.
Yeah.
Form of sleep paralysis. You can get these from loud noises. Well, my ex at the time was slightly overweight and snored like a freight train. Like you could hear him from the other side of the house with all the doors closed. He was that loud. Oof, that's rough. So it was his fault the entire time. I soon broke up with him, not because of the dreams, but for him saying that my father didn't love me. And the dreams stopped ever since. Well,
God.
that seems like a different nightmare that we could talk
Just
about
that
another time.
trickle, that one little
drop,
that
spice.
little piece of plot right at the end.
Those are my dreams, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Love y'all. Yeah, that was great. You kind of gave us the solution Alex came up with, so feel vindicated.
Yeah,
Alex.
the
You were right.
doll. I feel like the doll is like I was awake and I was not
Yeah.
asleep. Like I don't know. I don't want to read
So-
too far into the doll. It's just a scary doll, right?
We're just gonna do two more. Let's skip the next one because it's a bunch of dreams.
Yeah.
But I'd like to do the one after that and then end on the update of something that we covered in the past.
Okay.
So Davis, the one that's Spirits of the Frozen Cemetery. That's for you, big boy.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. I was
No, you're fine.
rereading through the last one again. I do think like there is like even with the last one, I'm like maybe it had to do with the boyfriend the whole time. Like there's like with the third one too, the idea of like her not wanting to do a thing and being dragged into it. I don't know. There's like a kind of like how if you don't do something, if you don't make a choice, sometimes the choice is made by other circumstances. And with a cow and not wanting to like look at it, and with the what was the second one?
It was the like dark man who was like, "You want to pray? I'll fuck you up."
It was Satan himself.
Yeah, just like I don't know. Maybe there's a like you can't hide, you can't be ignorant from this thing. And then it was like, well, the boyfriend was a dick about it, and I broke up with him, and they went away. It's like maybe it was like you had some lingering issues with your boyfriend, and
That's true.
the breakup is what did. I don't know.
Maybe the
The
doll was
brain
your
is a weird
boyfriend.
thing. Yeah.
The brain is a crazy thing.
In a
so
way,
which one
the
am I-
doll literally was your boyfriend, and in another way, maybe it was in your mind.
Yeah, we're gonna skip the one that the next one, which was another dream, and go down to Spirits of the Frozen Cemetery.
Okay. By combination any 4858. It's not really any combination if you then give the combination.
Yeah, that's true actually. Yeah.
Silly goose. Hello. Just to get it out of
Hey,
the
what's
way,
up? Hi.
at the top, I'm a huge fan of the pod, and y'all been a massive inspiration for me to get into YouTube and film. It's
Hey.
gotten to the point now where I'm almost monetized and just got my first movie deal as a character in a fantasy film.
Yo,
What?
congratulations!
Wait,
you're already more
What?
famous than us already.
Who is
Wow,
this?
congratulations!
Tom Holland, is that you?
Yeah, hey, I want to be in whatever Spider-Man film's coming up.
So I have y'all to partially thank for motivating me and making those stressful and dark days better. So thank you. Anyways, on to my story as it's kind of long. In September of 2022, I began production of my own original series on YouTube called Chasing the Extraordinary, where I and my co-host / cameraman / good buddy go out and look for evidence of all things cryptids, paranormal, and so on.
As all good YouTube channels start, you and your buddy, that's all you got, fucking making cool shit.
We're both open-minded skeptics whenever it comes to anything within this genre of hobby, and take every piece of evidence we collect with a grain of salt. In October of 2022, and then later in March of 2023, we went a collective 5 times to an area of Colorado called Central City to film in reportedly one of Colorado's most haunted cemeteries, the Central City Cemetery. To give you guys a bit of perspective as to how this area is laid out, allow me to briefly explain it here for story's sake. As you can imagine, it snows a lot in Colorado, so the cemetery is always covered in at least 1.5 feet of snow. The cemetery rests on the side of a hill, stretching from the top to the bottom of the hill. The hill it rests on sits in a sort of bowl surrounded by the Rockies. There are no houses near the cemetery, the closest one being about a 10-minute drive away from the area. At the bottom of the hill, there is a section of the cemetery called the Catholic Cemetery, where there is an old, they get their own special section.
The cool cemetery.
Yeah.
Where there is an old mausoleum we call the Dome. Literally, it's a 12-foot tall by 10-foot wide double layer
12-inch
brick
by
dome.
10-inch dome.
I was like, wait, are the double things? Yeah. It wouldn't make sense to be. That would be like Zoolander size. That once held the body of a Scottish woman in it until she broke out and later buried in Scotland. Holy shit. And was later then used as a sort of storehouse for bodies when the cemetery was over capacity. While that's really creepy, this is an old 1800s cemetery, so I guess it was just a different time. The top of the hill has the Knights of Pythias part of the cemetery, which is sort of international secret society type group, which is its own rabbit hole to go down if you're interested.
Perfect for Davis.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We investigated the whole cemetery, but began our search each time in the Catholic cemetery portion of the cemetery, where we got 2 EVPs on 2 separate occasions. Does that stand for something I should know?
Electronic voice phenomena.
Yeah.
It's like it's like an audio recording that can't be explained, the source, from a ghost.
Yeah, that you didn't hear at the time, but only got picked up on that.
You've definitely seen this in like a ghost show before.
Yeah. I was like, EVP sounds like I should know what it means.
Yeah.
EVP on 2 separate occasions. One in October of 2022, while sitting in the dome, where my co-host asked, "Could you make that thud sound again? Do you remember us?" And about 6 seconds later, gets a response that's clear as day, which sounds like a breathy, "Yeah," or I guess, "Yeah." The second EVP was in the area we dubbed the Grove, a small patch of trees about 500 feet from the dome. My co-host, in true horror movie fashion, asked, "Is this a place you can rest?" To which a voice seemingly whispered, "No." While I will admit in the recording of the second EVP, I cannot confirm if the speech being heard is 100% a no. However, I and many other people, friends, strangers, audio specialists, etc., all collectively agree that no matter what it's saying, there is definitely speech that can be heard that is neither from I nor my co-host. The last compelling piece of evidence we collected was during the same night in March when we recorded the second EVP, in which we had filmed strange balls of light uphill in the trees of the Knights of Pythias part of the cemetery before we even began our investigation. In the video, which I'll provide a link and timestamps for below, we see several faint balls of light that we couldn't get to show up on film. However, one of the balls gets extremely bright and then disappears. To us, it looked like if you had a ring light on some small circular light on a dimmer and just quickly set it to the brightest setting and then back down to off. When we went to investigate the area about 6 hours later after we got the rest of the footage we needed, just to make sure it wasn't people or that there wasn't some kind of lawn light that we were mistaking as something a bit more extraordinary than we thought. It had also just snowed, so if it was people, we would be able to see their tracks in the fresh powder. Upon investigating the area where we saw the lights, we did indeed discover a very small, rectangular, and dim lawn light, but concluded that there was no way it was the same light we saw earlier that night. Seeing as the lawn light was partially buried in snow, and the fact that it's so dim and short, it couldn't have possibly been the light we saw. It wasn't even the right color to be the lights we saw, considering that it was bluish, and the lights we saw were bright white and circular. You also couldn't see it from where we were, seeing as we were looking uphill from the Catholic cemetery. We also didn't see any footprints or tracks in the snow in this area of the cemetery, so we knew it couldn't have been people with a light. We also concluded that these lights were weirdly high up in the trees. In the footage, you can't see it, but there's a 4-foot tall fence that perimeters that part of the cemetery, and these lights were appearing above the fence in the trees. We estimated that the balls of light we saw had to have been approximately a minimum of 7 to 9 feet off the ground in the trees, way too high to be from a person or that dim little lawn light. Possibly some strange phenomenon coming from this place. At least we certainly thought so. But do you guys think?
I do.
I'd love to. Yeah, I was like,
We do think
what do you guys think? Sometimes.
Therefore, I am.
Yeah, I do love to know your thoughts, or I'd love to know your thoughts. Here's a link to my video and timestamps. Balls of light at 29:55. First EVP at 7.
Yeah. So you can go to the link. There's the link. Again, head over to the subreddit. Just look up for the user combination NE4858. You got the link there. He's got them all marked. You can go check out. It's pretty interesting footage.
Check it out.
Yeah. So this
clever promotional plan.
Yeah. You got me in that one.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, all right. The last one though that I'm gonna hand over to Alex, I think needs a preface because I think we spoke about this because this is an update to an older post that I think we spoke about it in a mini-sode.
Yeah, this was about basically. Does it do a catch up in it, or should I give background on this?
I'll just give a quick background. There's no real catch up in it. It's just a quick
Basically,
update.
there's an Alexa that has been picking up some, you can listen back to the things that trigger your Alexa, and the question is whether or not the things that are being heard on the Alexa as the triggers are EVPs or not.
Yeah. And they're pretty convincing sounding. If you go back and listen to the original posts, that shit is,
At least
words.
from the point of view of a layperson, very convincing. This is called My Mother is Contacting Me through our Echo show. Hey all, first it's going to be a long thread. Second, I want to say thank you for all the comments on my previous post and people talking about it after being on the pod. You all have some valid theories and I hope what I post today will debunk them. So let's start it off this way. Some audio that wasn't posted but was fucky, I listened to that again, and I think it may be me, so I will not waste your guys' time with that. Next,
I can appreciate somebody who can recognize something that's too questionable to use as evidence.
Yeah. Next, I'm registered on the Amazon Alexa, but haven't done the voice setup thing. Here are some screenshots to prove it wouldn't pick up my voice at the bottom of the audio clip on the app.
Yeah, some screenshots linked to it. Again, you can go find this on the subreddit.
Yeah, so those were two things that people were saying, or at least this thing about them being registered on the Alexa is one thing that people were saying. There are some screenshots of the Echo app where I was clearly talking. This alone doesn't disprove everything that has happened, though. So some stuff is clearly them talking. The Echo has not gone off in that way since then. I've tried to contact my neighbor as it may have been picking up noises from them. No response until about a week later when I realized somebody has just moved into that apartment. It was vacant at the time. Some people also said that it may have been my sister's voice on the phone that caused the really weird distorted audio. I have audio of her voice so you can hear the difference. We had a falling out, so all I can get was an older voicemail. So you have an old voicemail.
Comparison voices.
Yeah, to hear. So that's in the post. Also, some have said that it was the TV on in the background being picked up. I have audio of us talking to the Echo with the TV on. I also have audio of the TV being played in the background and being picked up as background noise. Some have even said it was just picking up our voices from the other room. So here's the audio of me talking about the experience in the living room, and here's me talking about the experience in the bedroom with which the Echo is located, so you can hear the difference there for yourself. And honestly, I think that the person that was responding to this was somebody who listens to these for a living.
I think, yeah.
So going back and listening to these, there's two sides to this. So it's kind of interesting. Like you might want to go see the responses to that other post so that you can get this a little bit more clearly. But this is interesting. I've been trying to debunk this, and I have no explanation. I hope you guys can really see that I'm trying my best to debunk this as well. I really think that the audio picked up by Echo for the Dino, what time is bedtime, is actually what Alex said. I know, but now it's bedtime. Yeah, me too. Dino, what time is bedtime?
Yeah.
I know, but now it's bedtime. Yeah. It makes a lot of sense, and it fits perfectly. I still haven't been able to fully understand the Echo Play for headphone, but the time that this went off, my girlfriend was home alone with her headphones in. Linked, I honestly don't know. I don't know what it's saying because it's too fucked up to really try and make sense of it. And if you go to this post, everything is like hypertexted. You can actually go listen to all the clips they're talking about. I love the discussion and the questions. This has been super intriguing to me, and I appreciate you guys waiting so long for an update. I got busy with work, and then The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom launched, lol. Sure. I know this is super anticlimactic, and I hope this further proves the entirety of the previous post. If it is my mom or a spirit, time could work differently, where it could be 1 year for us, it could be 15 minutes to them. We just don't know. My mother could be trying to contact me right after her passing in her head, but it's been a year and a half of our flow of time. I loved hearing it on the pod, and my GF was just excited to hear it covered. I would love to pick Jesse's brain, though, with him being skeptical and all. Anyway, I'll end it here. Thanks once again for reading, guys, and if there are any further occurrences, I will update you all.
So, on that post, taking a look, there are not a lot of comments pushing back on what he rebutted, which is fascinating. But there's just, so if anybody hasn't seen the update, I would go check it out. Like Alex said, he hyperlinked everything so you can go listen to everything. And if you have other explanations, I'm interested to hear other people's explanations and more potential debunkings if it can be debunked at all, because it is very weird audio to listen to. And Davis, if you haven't heard it after this, you should go listen to it. It's very creepy.
I haven't, but one of my problems with ghost stuff is that they're relying on the same old bits, and doesn't make me believe it more, but I find it more interesting when modern technology or more modern technology is used. So the idea of an Amazon Echo being like a device for this kind of thing is just immediately more, I don't know, interesting to me than just
it's way more appealing. With
definitely
dowsing rods,
fun,
though,
yeah.
we could do some dowsing rods. That usually tends to work.
There's in Gerard's office, there's I think it's an Amazon or one of those things, and it will occasionally, like, we were there one weekend doing work, and it just started playing Christmas music, and it was not Christmas time, and it was fucking
Spooky.
horrifying.
Spooky.
See, and that shit can make people think things are haunted. That shit is just weird, just technology glitching, and it happens.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's our listener stories. So that was November. So like another 6 months, we'll do this again.
I can't believe that it's been that long. It's crazy.
Well, yeah, because usually we did it every couple months for a while. But honestly, the past year or so, we've been doing a lot more bigger like series. So just not a lot of room for this stuff. But having Davis here, nice light, chill episode, perfect reason to go read some cool stories. Thank you for joining us, Davis. Davis, you have all kinds of shit going on. Fucking pimp that shit out. What do you got going on in your world of entertainment?
Well, first of all, it's always a pleasure to be here. And now that I'm listening through it, I'm excited to like
Pierce
keep
the veil.
going and keep learning. It's
welcome.
there's
Your eyes will be open.
There's like, it's wild. It's wild, and it's given me new worldviews. I'm still like highly skeptical of just about everything because like
You should be.
you should be.
Everyone
Yes,
should be.
correct. You
But
should be.
but it's really interesting, and it's weird. I think it was Jesse in one of the episodes, or one of you guys were talking about how like alien stuff, some of the more outlandish stuff has the same like energy that like religious stories have, where it's like it's just science-based stuff or whatever, and it's still needing people to be important and all these like things, and that like perspective has been really like interesting to think about how like maybe a lot of supernatural. It's all actually cut from
The same
a similar cloth, and it's just something that's interesting to think about. And
I agree, man. I think like Jesse uses that argument and like that point later on. It's an interesting thought experiment. Of, like, what if they're all tied together? What if they're not individual things, but all just part, like you said, part of the same cloth that are just peeking through in weird ways?
Is it the Fibonacci's? What isn't there like a
Fibonacci
magic
sequence?
number where it's
Yeah.
like it appears a lot? It's like
Fibonacci
that, but
sequence.
it's like a story version where it's like similar
Sacred geometry.
themes that have like different, whether it's gods or aliens, like it's the same basic structure expressed in
Our
creative ways.
perception dictates the context, right?
Some of the earliest UFO encounters are like not little green men, but weird airships that don't make sense with hairy monkey dudes in suits with big noses. And it's just stuff that we don't see anymore. So you wonder if that was being seen. Was that because in the 1910s, that was the best way the human brain could like amalgam together what was happening?
Or was that the Bigfoot's landing, bro?
It's possible.
There's like fuck, what is it called?
There's a Bigfoot invasion in Pennsylvania that happened through a UFO flap, Alex, and
We'll get into
we will cover that one day. That is an actual thing that happened. The UFO invasion of Pennsylvania.
There's a term I learned about on like Sawbones, like mass something event, mass whatever, but it's like
Like a hallucination kind of event?
Mass hysteria?
But like I think it was like what they attributed that weird like dancing phenomena a couple
Jesse
hundred
does an
years
episode
ago.
on the dancing episode, yeah.
Like
But
mass
it's like the
delusion.
idea, it's like people have a massive shared reaction, but what is happening is based on the like morality or the like pop cultural elements of the time. So like dancing was sort of seen as like a forbidden thing, and so people being maybe frustrated with the like shackles of society, they were just like, fuck it, I'm gonna dance, I don't care. And like I feel like there's some semblance of that energy in like that, where they're like monkeys in the shit, like everybody like kind of all has the same pop cultural reference for what an alien might be, so they all see it. Like it's like they self-suggest what they see.
My boy, you're on the path. You don't even know it. But you're on the path, and you're well down the path.
It's so interesting. There's no like real answers, but maybe because there's no answers, it's like why I like opening to movies now
it's
again
not about
more, where I'm like,
answers.
I want to just chew on it for like when
just
I'm
chew on it. And even
mentally.
those who go looking for answers go like in terms of quantum mechanics, they end up with more questions anyway, and it just makes you think, yeah, okay, the universe isn't exact. Reality is very flexible.
Right.
It is a very wobbly thing.
Yeah.
Oh, but things to pimp out.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah.
The Star Wars Old Canon Book Club.
Bingo.
It's new. It's awesome. We've got a bunch of episodes.
It's
we have a
me,
Patreon.
it's Davis, and it's Jesse, and we're going through Star Wars in order, the old stuff.
From the beginning. And if you're thinking like, oh, it's going to be old and whatever, no, it's like, it's so fascinating. It's so interesting.
And relevant to modern Star Wars, surprisingly. Like,
It's-
in surprising
yeah.
ways.
Especially now with Thrawn and everything.
Yeah, it's mind-blowing. And we got a Patreon for it. That's Patreon. Is it just Patreon?
SWOCBC, patreon.com. Yeah.
You can support us there. There's like watch-alongs. A lot of cool stuff coming out, so that's the big one. Warp Zone is my YouTube channel that I do sketch comedy, pop culture stuff with my buddies, so check me out there. I do have socials, so I don't really use them a lot, but
I've known you now for a while, not nearly as long as Alex, but I've never known you to be very active on social media at all.
I'm a in-person
You love to see it.
kind of guy.
You're good energy, yeah. You got to be there.
It's too much I can't keep track. My brain doesn't work that well.
Maybe we'll go for coffee when I visit if I can wake up at 8 o'clock in the
I'll
morning.
drag your ass out of bed. Don't worry.
I know you
Yeah.
will, yeah.
Or like I'll just bring the coffee to you.
Oh, look at that.
Look
how
at you!
beautiful that is.
Wow! Oh, I'm gonna be so treated so nice in my life.
All right.
I'm sorry to hear that. No one's ever made you coffee?
Damn.
No, not even Alex when I was there.
Dude, what? Yes, I did.
Dude.
I know you did.
How could you do it?
Tune in.
That's it.
Tune
That's right.
into our
We're done?
Patreon for 15 more minutes of this.
Yeah, we're gonna go do a
Right after
mini-sode,
this.
guys. Thank you guys so much for supporting us. We'll be back next week with another
on.
episode. Jesse will be back next week, and if you are at all on Twitter, go follow our Chilluminati Pod on Twitter or any social media, and you'll get a little preview as to the insane. Oh no, shit, Alex, you've got next episode,
Yeah,
don't you?
Chronicles of Mia continue next minisode also. So I
yeah,
don't want Jesse to miss any of the white knuckle moments. So
Yeah, no, absolutely. All right, well, we'll be back. Anyway, thank you guys so much. We appreciate you. We love
Me
you.
and my wife were sitting outside
Bye.
indulging on our porch one night, enjoying
Bye.
ourselves. I needed to go to the bathroom, so I stepped back inside, and after a few moments, I hear my wife go, "Holy shit, get out here!" So I quickly dash back outside, and she's looking up at the sky in awe. I look up too, and there's a perfect line of dozen lights traveling across the sky.